The wind moved gently across the abandoned riverbank. Cold air brushed against Emily's skin as she stepped closer to the old bridge. The wood beneath her feet creaked with a dry, tired sound. The smell of damp soil rose sharply from below. It filled her lungs with a heavy, earthy bitterness. She paused for a moment. Her heartbeat tapped louder than the distant flow of the river. Emily had walked this path many times, but today the place felt strangely unfamiliar. As if something watched her from the shadows beneath the bridge. Her fingers trembled slightly. She tightened her grip on the small lantern she carried. Its warm glow pushed back the darkness in thin, wavering circles. The old bridge loomed above her. Its rotting planks twisted like tired bones. Moss clung to every corner, glowing faintly in the lantern light with a sickly green sheen. The air felt thick, uncomfortably still. Emily lowered herself toward the entrance beneath the bridge. A narrow space. Dark. Silent. The soft sound of dripping water echoed from somewhere deep inside. Each drop struck the stones with a sharp metallic note. Her breath became shallow. The lantern glimmered against the wet walls, revealing thin claw-like scratches carved into the wood. She leaned closer, ran her fingers over them. The grooves were deep, too deep for any animal she knew. A cool chill shivered through her spine. She stepped forward, one slow foot at a time. The ground shifted beneath her shoes, soft and slippery. Her lantern shook, casting trembling shadows that moved unnaturally along the walls. Something flashed at the far end of the narrow space. A small glint of metal. Emily swallowed hard and crouched. She reached toward it with careful fingers. The river gurgled quietly behind her, as if whispering a warning. Her hand closed around the object. It was a rusted locket. Cold, heavy, covered in dried mud that flaked beneath her touch. Emily lifted it toward the lantern light. A faint engraving shimmered on its surface. A name she recognized immediately. Her throat tightened. A sudden gust of wind rushed through the hollow space beneath the bridge. The lantern flame flickered violently. The walls seemed to tremble. And the darkness behind her began to shift. Slowly, deliberately, as if something unseen was rising from the shadows, Emily turned slowly. Her lantern trembled in her grasp as the shifting darkness thickened behind her. A deep sound rose from the hollow space under the bridge. Not a growl, not a human voice. It was a slow dragging breath, heavy and deliberate, as if something enormous had just awakened after a long and restless sleep. Cold air pushed against her back. Her skin tightened as goosebumps crawled up her arms. She lifted the lantern higher. Shadows stretched across the curved wooden beams like long fingers reaching toward her. Emily took one careful step backward. Her heel pressed into the wet ground, and a soft splash echoed across the narrow space. The dark breath stopped. Complete silence followed, a silence so sharp that she could hear her pulse beating against her ears. Her eyes searched the farthest corner beneath the bridge. The lantern light quivered, illuminating dust, moss, and broken stones. Then she saw it, a shape that did not belong to the river. A tall, slouched figure stood at the very end of the passage. Its form was half hidden in darkness. Its shoulders drooped forward unnaturally. Its arms were long and thin, hanging motionless at its sides. A faint shimmer glowed across its skin, like wet bark reflecting moonlight. Emily froze. The locket in her hand felt heavier, almost painful, as if it knew something she did not. The figure shifted slightly, its head tilted with a slow grinding motion. Emily could not see a face, but she sensed eyes watching her, unblinking, cold, silent. She gripped the lantern tighter. The warm light from the flame trembled across the figure's surface, revealing cracks and ridges, as if its skin had split and healed again and again. The creature leaned forward. The air twisted with a sharp smell of decayed wood and ancient water. Emily forced herself to breathe. Her lungs filled with the damp, metallic scent of the riverbed. Her mind screamed at her to turn around and run, but her legs refused to move. The creature's long fingers twitched. A ripple of movement traveled through its limbs. Emily raised the lantern a little more. The creature's face came into view. There were no eyes, only two hollow sockets, deep and dark like abandoned wells. Its mouth was a narrow slit stretching across the lower part of its face. The slit widened slowly. A thin, rasping sound escaped from the opening. It sounded like wind pushing through broken reeds. Emily stumbled back, her shoulder hitting the wooden beam behind her. The lantern swung wildly. The flame inside wavered dangerously. For a moment the creature vanished in the darkness. Then it appeared again, much closer. Emily gasped sharply. Her breath came out in short bursts. She held the locket tightly against her chest, as if it could protect her. The creature extended one long hand toward her. Its fingers curled like twisted branches, dripping with cold water that pooled on the ground. Emily stepped back again, but her foot struck something solid. A stone. Her balance shifted. She nearly fell. She steadied herself against the wall, her heart pounding in violent waves. The creature lowered its hand. Its head tilted again. This time, it leaned closer to the lantern, as if studying the object in her grip. The locket glimmered with a faint golden hue. The engraving seemed brighter than before, glowing softly under the trembling light. The creature made another low rasp. Its head moved forward slowly. Emily held the locket out instinctively. The creature paused. For the first time, its body stopped shifting. The air grew still again. Emily felt a strange pressure forming around her. A heavy, invisible weight settled across her shoulders. She looked down at the locket. The mud had almost fully flaked off. The engraving was clear now. The name carved into the metal was unmistakable. It was the name of her younger brother. The brother who had disappeared near this river when they were children. Her hands shook violently. The lantern flickered again, sending wild shadows dancing across the walls. The creature stepped forward. Its movement was silent. Too silent. Not a single sound of footsteps echoed across the wet stone floor. It stopped only a few inches away from her. Emily could see the thin roots or veins pulsing beneath the surface of its cracked skin. She felt heat rise to her face. Her body refused to move. The creature lifted its long hand again. Instead of reaching for her, it pointed toward the locket. Its finger tapped the air once. A slow, deliberate motion. Emily swallowed the thick dryness in her throat. She turned the locket over. Her fingertips brushed against a tiny latch. She hesitated. The creature lowered its head. Its empty sockets stared directly at the metal pendant. Emily pressed the latch. The locket opened with a soft click. Inside was a small piece of folded paper. The paper was old, thin, yellowed at the edges. She unfolded it carefully with shaking hands. Her lantern light revealed faded handwriting. The first word made her chest tighten. It was her own name. Her vision blurred with sudden tears, but she forced herself to focus. The message continued in trembling lines. A message written by her brother. A message that should never have been here. A message that said he had seen something beneath the bridge. Something that followed him. Something that whispered his name in the river water. Emily's breath caught. Her fingers trembled as she held the fragile note. The creature leaned closer. A faint drop of water fell from its jaw and splashed against the stone. Emily lifted the lantern again, trying to illuminate its expressionless face. The creature slowly raised its hand. Two long fingers pointed at the note. Then at the locket. Then at the dark tunnel behind it. The air grew even colder. Emily's voice trembled. She forced the words out. What happened to him? The creature did not speak. Instead, it turned its hollow gaze toward the far end of the bridge's underpass. The shadows there swirled slowly, as if something inside them breathed. Emily felt the blood drain from her face. A distant sound rose from the darkness. A quiet, rhythmic tapping. A sound that matched the pattern of her brother's childhood knock. The creature stepped aside. The shadows shifted again, and something within them began to move toward her. Emily froze as the shadows moved closer. Her lantern quivered in her hands, casting long, trembling shapes along the walls. She clutched the locket and the note to her chest, feeling the weight of her brother's message and the years of unanswered questions. The dark figure beneath the bridge did not advance. Instead, it stayed perfectly still, its hollow gaze fixed on her. Emily realized it was waiting for her to understand something. Taking a slow, deliberate breath, she stepped toward the tunnel. The shadows receded slightly, revealing a narrow path that had been hidden all these years. She followed it cautiously. Each step echoed softly on the wet stone floor. The rhythmic tapping continued, growing clearer with every step. Her heart pounded, but she pressed forward, driven by the memory of her brother's smile and the unanswered questions that haunted her since childhood. Finally, The path opened into a small chamber beneath the bridge. Water dripped from the ceiling, forming tiny puddles that reflected the faint light of her lantern. In the center of the chamber was a small wooden box. Emily knelt beside it, her hands trembling as she opened the lid. Inside were her brother's belongings, a small notebook, a worn toy, and a photograph of the two of them smiling together. A folded note rested on top, addressed to her. With shaking hands, she unfolded it. Her brother's words were simple, but they carried the weight of years. I am safe. I have been hidden from the world to protect you. The bridge keeps what is dangerous away from those who do not belong. Follow your heart, and the secret will guide you to peace. Emily felt tears stream down her face. A heavy burden she had carried for years lifted from her shoulders. The figure beneath the bridge remained motionless, a silent guardian of the secret it had protected for so long. Emily understood that it was not a threat. It was a protector. The locket in her hand glowed faintly, warm against her skin. She placed the items back carefully in the box, understanding that some secrets were meant to remain hidden, watched over by unseen guardians. As she stood to leave, the figure slowly receded into the darkness, disappearing as silently as it had appeared. Emily walked out from beneath the bridge, the cold air of the riverbank brushing against her face. For the first time in years, she felt calm. The wind no longer seemed heavy or threatening. The river flowed quietly beneath the old bridge, carrying with it the echoes of the past. Emily held the locket close to her heart. She knew that the secret hidden under the old bridge had been revealed to her, not as a curse, but as a promise. A promise of safety, of connection, and of the unseen. Bonds that tie family together. She looked back at the bridge one last time. The shadows had vanished. The river reflected the soft light of dawn. And Emily finally felt that her brother's presence, though hidden, was with her still, guiding her toward the future. She turned and walked away, leaving the old bridge behind, its secret safe once more, but her heart lighter than it had ever been.